thing. You need stability in something like a PDA. Your toaster oven, your car, stability is very important. How'd you like to be driving down the expressway and all of a sudden have your car reboot? I had a friend of mine in the early days of car computers that happened to him. He'd get his car out, it'd be a cold day, start to go on the expressway, start to accelerate, and all of a sudden the right combination of temperature of the car engine, temperature of the outside air, and acceleration, his car would go, "Awooba!" And he wrote to the car manufacturer to describe what was happening. He says, "Oh yeah, your car's rebooting. we have a patch."
Apparently there's something weird about the computers that if you don't drive them every day, the computer thinks that the battery's dead or something and it just shuts off and you can't start the car.
Well, I won't know that because I drive a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle. Convertible.
That's what Michael Moore told me.
Okay.
Does it give you a warning?
Stability is very interesting, and capability of the operating system is very interesting. So, again, business people. We talked to them about what two things? As a corollary to that, time is money. Okay, saving time, making time, okay, being able to bring product to market faster. Another reason for stability, bringing product to market faster. You don't want to have to be debugging your operating system at the same time you're debugging your application. Okay. All right, let's go to a different group. Education. Now we talked about the fact that business people are highly competitive. Well, so are colleges to a certain extent. They say, hey, my college is better than your college, and so forth and so on. But they're also cooperative. They also cooperate on many, many different levels. And so what you want to do is show them that cooperation is easier with open source software, and the education that they give, or the research that they produce, is going to be better with open source software. Now the administration is a lot like business people. They simply would like to cut costs and make things better, you know, have a better product, cut costs. So you can think of those more as business people. But the research and educational people are the ones that are a little bit different. So now we come and we say that we rely on the fact that universities is publish or perish, right? A certain company in the Northwest will come to a university and they'll say, if you use our operating system, then the research that you do will be immediately useful to a lot of people because so many people use our operating system. Now, this would be true if that company would actually use the research that was done on their operating system. But I can tell you for a fact that two significant pieces of research that was done utilizing their operating system took over 7 years to come to market. Digital Equipment Corporation in 1992 had a 64-bit version of Windows NT, including the virtual address space, available for Microsoft to put into NT. They rejected it because Digital wanted to have a royalty paid back to them for it, and Microsoft does not pay royalties. The second thing that Microsoft wanted to do, or that Digital had, was a port of their clustering technology. Now, for those that you remember VMS and its clustering technology, it was extremely good. It was very reliable, very stable. This too was offered to Microsoft, but they rejected that in favor of their Wolfpack technology that they had invented from inside of Microsoft. I called the Wolfpack technology the only times computers ran slower than one. And were less stable. And so when people are offered, when people are told by Microsoft that you can get your research out there to a customer base so that you can improve people's lives faster, and again, this is not just Microsoft. Remember, that's always tailored with the unsaid statement, if we think there's a good business reason. That's those are the words that are never ever said. If we can make a good business case for it, which means that the customers are willing to pay a lot more in price for this thing than Microsoft or any other company is willing to pay in royalties. Now with open source software, it's a different model. You do a good piece of work, you put it up on the net. Because everybody has the source code to the operating system, they can make that decision whether they want to integrate your particular work into their product or not. People start talking about it. People start saying, hey, this is really good. And then after a while, maybe one of the distributions takes notice of it and integrates it as well. Yes, sir.
Familiar with John Gilmore's quote, free software reduces the cost of cooperation?
Yes, and I'll give another example of that in a little bit. Any other comments? Let's say we're doing research, and let's say we're sharing information. Recently at OLS, there was a discussion about genome research. And the fact that a lot of the people that are doing research on genes and things like that are using MySQL as a database. When I asked them, why are you using MySQL? They said, well, here we have our database for storing all the data. We could be using an Oracle database. There's nothing wrong with Oracle, except for the fact that when we take a dump of the data and put it out, we assume that the person who's going to be using it has an Oracle license, which may cost them $8,000 or so. That's the easiest way for that person to then load in that data into their database and use it. On the other hand, when we use MySQL, we can say, take a dump, or better yet, take a disk image. And oh, by the way, it's not only the data, but the data in the database format, and the database engine, and everything else you need. Here, take it, please. Which is the easier exchange of information in research?
It depends on if you're asking Larry Ellison or not.
Yes. I'm asking the researchers. And I'm particularly asking the researchers if they happen to be in some place like Brazil. Here's another, and I'll get to this. This is kind of a crossover between research and government. But I'm getting to government a little bit later. I'd like to hit on this now. There is a company in Rio de Janeiro which studies the biomass of the Brazilian rainforest. They're looking for new products being brought out. They're looking for new medicines, new things that can be made with some of the interesting things that can be found in the Brazilian rainforest. The problem is that the software they needed to do this research was only available from the United States. One doesn't know who Richard Stallman is, doesn't care who Richard Stallman is, and number three, if they saw Richard Stallman, they'd be so far put off by it. All they would think about, and I love Richard, I really do, and I'm very happy in a lot of ways he is like he is, because he is so far to the left that he could pull Ronald Reagan into the center. And if Richard moved even one step to the right, he would be in danger of being pulled away from that. But he's got his arm around that Gibraltar. He is not going to move. And therefore, anybody he goes up against has to be pulled into the center. So that's fine. But he's not the person who should be talking to Mr. Business Person. Because all they want to do is
make money.
You got it. Okay. And so with that, I'm at the end of my talk. And so I say, if there's any questions or comments, you had one, I'll get to you in a second, go ahead. But when you go out there to talk to these people, remember, understand your audience, know what means a difference to them, what makes a difference to them, treat those differences, keep it short, and be ruthless. Carpe diem. Thank you.